Good Saturday morning. We are on a flight now from Punta Gorda, which, by the way, it's beautiful down here in Punta Gorda, Florida. We will be flying to Fort Wayne, Indiana. So basically, we have to have counseling on standby because who would want to leave this? Look at this. Wow. It's just beautiful. Punta Gorda, Florida, beautiful blue water, just wow. So, no, nobody'd really want to leave it. Well, in any case, we're going to be flying out on runway 22 here in Punta Gorda. Um, and heading to uh, Indiana. Nothing against Indiana, but in fact, there's runway 22 there, so I'll give you some perspective right now. We're going to be going through our check pre-flights and everything. Then we will uh, take a taxi out this way to set up for our takeoff. That doesn't look like a very long runway, but I'm sure it's longer than it appears. In fact, I've got its length here. Let me see. The Punta Gorda, the runway 22 is 7,100 feet, which when you're used to going out of the larger airports is not much. But this is I guess this is Punta Gorda. It's a regional airport, so Allegiant Airlines that we're flying for today focuses on the regional airports. So that's where we are. It's a beautiful place. Okay. We're cold and dark right now, so we'll go ahead and start our process. So whenever I'm cold and dark, I always it starts the same every time. We're going to go to the battery guard. We're going to drop the battery guard. We're going to bring up the nav, IRSs, like up to nav. We are going to start the I'm going to hold off. I'm doing something a little bit different. We're on real time today. And since we are on real time, I want to save my fuel. And we're going to use ground services and bring in an APU. A GPU. And we will start up the GPU for ground power. We're going to go to the FMS. Go ahead and get our location entered. We're going to load our flight plan. We're going to activate that flight plan. And we are going to go over here to ground service, fuel and weight balance. And airside services. We're going to load the flight plan here for airside services. Our cargo is going to be 16,000 pounds. Our zero fuel weight's 135,000. Fuel, we're going to be getting about 22,000 pounds of fuel. And we're going to activate that. And our settings are for real time today, so meaning that everything we do today is actually going to take like a real time setting instead of usually I have it set for a shorter span.
Radio check 1, 2, 3.
I have yet to figure out Austin's vegan foods. Vegan? Come on, man. I will say this: the best pasta salad I have ever had was on a flight to Comayagua, which is in Honduras. That had to be the best food I've ever had. Put in my mouth, best flight pasta salad. And I'm not a pasta salad guy, so we are going to go ahead and bring up the flight directors on the dash on the MSD. And we're using ATC for our communications, so I'm going to go ahead and involve our ATC. And I think I'm going to change I'm going to request a pilot, a co-pilot switch, because she's so slow on talking. I want something a little faster, like Sandra Patterson and Anderson. She's very professional. We'll try Steve Dauncey. Steve, hey, hope you've had a good morning. You're in charge of all comms today.
Thanks, Steve. I've got the comms covered. Let's get this bird in the sky.
Can you go ahead and request our IFR clearance?
I'll get our IFR clearance now.
United 854 push and start approved. Tail northwest. And remember, the tug isn't a magic carpet, so contact ramp on 119.9 or for assistance.
Punta Gorda ground, Allegiant 932, requesting our IFR clearance, please.
Give me 1 second for that clearance. Vision Jet 709er Romeo. Papa, John Toon ground, clear to Rock Hill, York. Radar vectors Tasmo. Then as filed. Climb and maintain flight level 310. Departure on 119.35, squawk 3354. Expect runway 20. Allegiant 932, cleared to Fort Wayne. Radar vectors Rogan, then is filed. Climb and maintain 3000. Expect flight level 320, 10 minutes after departure. Departure on 127.05, squawk 2247. Expect runway 22.
Punta Gorda ground, Allegiant 932, cleared to Fort Wayne. Radar vectors Rogan, then as filed. Climb and maintain 3000. Expect flight level 320, 10 minutes after departure. Departure on 127.05, squawk 2247. Anticipate runway 22.
Allegiant 932, read back correct.
All right. Okay, so
Clear to Rock Hill, radar vectors Tasmo, then is filed. Climb and maintain 310. Departure frequency 119.35, squawk 3354. Expecting runway 20. Vision Jet 9 Romeo Papa.
we don't have TCAS active yet, but we're squawking 2247 here. You see Steve's already put it in. Brakes on. Flaps, and well, we'll get to that in a minute. But it looks like everything is set now. We're going to go ahead too and bring up the auto throttle arm. And when we fly out, we're going to be flying out at, let's get some light on that. Put some light up here. Our cruise altitude is going to be, hold a second. Cost index 25 on this flight. We may have a problem on our flight plan, and I may have to
2120,
address it.
ground, pushback and engine start approved. Contact apron on 119 or decimal 9er 9er for tug services.
We had an aircraft change, and not just an aircraft change,
559er
but an entire airframe change. So we went from an Airbus,
with X-ray ready to copy.
so we're going to need to make a major change. KPG.
Gorda ground, Legion 55-9er is ready for push and start. Inertia ground radio check.
So on our dashboard, I need to make some changes. Okay.
Dharmas ground, Baron Tango Echo November with information. Lima parked at General Aviation Ramp. IFR to Echo November Alpha Lima outbound via Lambo. Request engine startup.
Baron Tango Echo November, engine start approved. Runway 27, taxi via Alpha, advise ready to taxi.
Skyline 62 Papa Golf Alpha, Portland ground, cleared to Nashua. Radar vectors Kennebunk, then as filed, climb and maintain 4000. Departure on 119.75, squawk 4656. And I know it's not what you filed, but you can expect runway 36. Walker 3492, Grand Island ground, taxi to General Aviation parking via Charlie Alpha.
What we had to change was we had a flight plan that was loaded for our Airbus A320. We had
Flight deck fuel is all loaded up and you are good to go.
we had an aircraft change, and this could impact several things. But I am literally going in and filing a new flight plan. And maybe it's good for you to see this, but we're having to file a entirely new one. I'll show you how to do that with say intentions too, because right now say we've got our IFR clearance already.
Heavy Houston ground, taxi to
Okay.
A27B via Whiskey Sierra, Whiskey Papa, Whiskey Delta, cross runway 15 left, then Whiskey Bravo, Romeo Charlie. Good afternoon. Clear to Nashua, radar vector to Echo November, Echo then filed, climb and maintain 4000. Departures on 119.75, clock 4656. Expect runway 36. Scott Hook, Papa Alpha. Baltimore ground, Southwest 729 requesting taxi.
Southwest 729, taxi to runway 15 right via November 1 Bravo, Papa.
Air France 123 Heavy, Milwaukee ground, taxi to runway 1 left via Bravo,
Okay.
Romeo, cross runway 25 left.
I'm changing over the flight plans now.
124.575 when ready for departure.
Clarence Skyhawk, Papa Alpha Alpha, request amendment to the altitude to cruise at 6,000 today. Vision Jet 9 Romeo Papa, taxi to runway 20 via Romeo 4 Alpha Alpha 5.
Runway 20 will be Romeo 4 Alpha Alpha 5, Vision Jet 9 Romeo Papa.
This is important to change over because our fuel, everything can be impacted, especially by an entirely different airplane.
Bravo Echo, cross runway 31 right, then cross runway 22 right at your discretion.
Okay, we'll reload
Contact
this.
tower on 119.1 when ready for departure.
And I'm going to go over here and load again.
After departure, fly radar vectors to Lambo, runway 27 in use. Initial climb 4000, departure on 118.6. Squawk 3225, Baron Tango Echo November.
And I do see some changes in the car.
Portland ground.
Kind of the weights, some of the weights have changed, but it definitely looks like our 737 is a fuel hog. So,
Hannover ground, please give me runway 27 right, because 27 center is too short for my airplane. Lufthansa to Mike Yankee.
Lufthansa 2 Mike Yankee, runway 27 right approved. Taxi to
Flight attendants,
runway
prepare
27
for
right.
takeoff, please.
Via Alpha 1 Foxtrot 1 Foxtrot, Mike. Contact tower on 120.18 when ready for departure.
Okay, the cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
Taxi to runway 27 via Juliet and Yankee, Baron Tango Echo November.
and we're about to bring up the APU.
Ground flight deck first is connected and starting refueling.
4120,
Ground
taxi to
flight deck
runway
fuel
23
is all
via
loaded
Alpha
up and
Golf
you are good to go.
Foxtrot cross runway 14, then Lima.
Thank you very much. Runway 27 right approved. Taxi to runway 27 right. We are Alpha 1 Foxtrot 1 Foxtrot Mike. Contact tower on 120.18 when ready for departure. Lufthansa to Mike Yankee.
And we need to reload our
Foxtrot, cross runway
say intentions
14,
on this.
Lima.
The reason being is we've just changed the flight plan. Say intentions abides by the flight plan. Now we're, and although we're not changing our location where we're heading, none of that really changes. Flight plan is a set for the 737. Our flight path, our waypoints should not change at all. Steve, sorry about that. Can you take care of being in charge of all comms?
Sure thing, Steve. I'll handle the comms from here on out.
Right, we've yaw damper here. We have yaw damper. We're going to go down here to our controls and set skid our RTO to just the, well, anti-skid to RTO. That's reject takeoff. So we'll be ready just in case. We're going to set our altitude to 32,000. And VNAV controls the climb, so I'm always prepared to change something if I need to. But VNAV does a good job stepping us up. Alright, so we haven't loaded our passengers yet, but we're prepared for passenger load here shortly. And I'm holding off on our initial performance numbers. This will be for takeoff and to get our speeds until passengers are loaded. Runway we're going off on is 22, so I'm gonna line my course directors up for the runways, and this really doesn't impact anything. But one of my priorities is try to keep my awareness high, keep focused, and this just is one more step. So I'm spatially aware of everything that's happening around me. Won't get caught by surprise. And our heading, right here. If we look on our heading, there's two ways to do our heading. First of all, there's the correct way, and anything I tell you is not gospel. I'm not a pilot. I'm a drone pilot, so not a commercial airline pilot. I've got friends that have thousands and thousands of hours, but I'm not a pilot. So what I tell you is just something I do within Xplane 12, and it works for me, but it may not necessarily be the best way. So here on our legs, or you notice here we have a discontinuity right off the bat. So we're going to put in here, first waypoint is Rogan. Rogan is at 2.6. And I like setting the 2.6 here on my heading and leaving it there. And that way, the minute I take off and I activate my Command A, it's lined up, the bug's lined up correctly. You hear passengers loading. They'll take a little bit to load because I have everything set to real time. So we'll give this some time to get on. Weather over here and terrain over here. Steve, will you go ahead and get our IFR clearance, please?
Sure thing, Steve. I'll get our IFR clearance.
Ground, good morning, United. 420 heavy, request settlement pushback.
Punta Gorda ground. Allegiant 932. Requesting to collect our IFR clearance.
Give me 1 second for that clearance.
Vision 25 Mike Victor negative. Cleared to Milan Malpensa via the Basu 1 Delta departure.
Allegiant 932, cleared to Fort Wayne. Radar vectors Rogan, then is filed. Climb and maintain 3000. Expect flight level 320 10 minutes after departure. Departure on 127.05 squawk 3447. Expect runway 22.
Punta Gorda ground. Allegiant 932 cleared to Fort Wayne. Radar vectors Rogan, then as filed. Climb to and maintain 3000. Expect flight level 320 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 127.05. Squawk 3447. Anticipate runway 22.
Allegiant 932, read back correct.
Vision 25 Mike Victor Basu 1 Delta departure as filed. Expect runway 22.
Once again, man, it's a beautiful airport. Punta Gorda, it's so like clean. Doesn't have that city feel to it at all. And of course, you have to have crop circles next to the the runway. Right. That's for you, the conspiracy theorist. Okay. Wow, the water's pretty. Everything. Well, settings right now. What we're running is I'm running an i9 with GeForce RTX 4070 card, 64 gigs of RAM on an Asus motherboard. I'm running this off of a 2 terabyte drive that's on board SSD, and I have a secondary 1 terabyte drive for that, and it seems to be working well for me. If you're wondering what it looks like, I'll give you an idea. So that's our, you see in the center there, I have my dilithium crystals that power my aircraft. Some of you get it. Some of you may have to get that out there. Okay, all right. I can't be the only old one here. Once again, detail. Can't say enough. Anyway, all my settings are jacked up, and I've done well.
Porta ground. Porta Gorda clearance. TBM, November 121 Golf Juliet. Ready to copy IFR to Orlando. I am working on that clearance. Stand by.
How are we doing on passenger loading? About 65%. So, all the traffic you're hearing that interrupt me all the time. um, it is coming from Say Intentions. Say Intentions takes all of its traffic that's used on its network, and it basically compiles it so regionally wherever we are, it's putting that traffic in there, and it makes for a busy sounding radio. And Say Intentions is the ATC. So if you haven't tried it, I need to get up with them because I really do like the product. I use it. It is there's a way to try it for free, but it is subscription based, and does a great job. For me, it's been a lifesaver at moments. So it gives me my ATC everything I need. I like VATSIM, but sometimes I don't have. Maybe I don't have time to set up and jump onto VATSIM for a flight. But with the ATC on Say Intentions, it's a little more flexible. I like having a co-pilot that can actually talk for me and let me be pilot flying and put them on pilot monitoring, and they take care of all the radio traffic. So I think it works well for me. And yes, there is a cost. It's not a free product eventually, but for me it's been worth the subscription to be able to do it. And they have some incentives to try to get you to try it. So if you want to try it, give it a shot. We're almost finished. I'm going to go ahead and ask Steve to get our push and start clearance. Brian, I'm sorry, Steve, would you go ahead and get our pushback and start clearance?
No problem, Steve. I'll get our pushback clearance.
Our next steps, by the way.
We are getting ready to push back from the gate here. However, we cannot do so while anybody's standing in the aisle. So we ask that you please take your seats at this time. Be sure that your seatbelts are securely fastened. Thank you.
It's time for us to activate the buses for the APU. All right, we're now on the APU, and we're going to be disconnecting our ground bus.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we close the main cabin doors to remove our customers seated with seatbelts fastened to access safely with control of button lock position. Luggage under the seat in front of you completely.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go. Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Flight attendants, please prepare doors for departure. Cross-check. Stand by for all calls.
Good morning, folks. On the flight deck, get your captain in for the ride. It looks like it should be pretty good. So we're planning on a smooth ride. Get there as soon as we can, and as safe as we can. We'll talk to you once we get airborne.
This ought to be a nice flight. Yeah, this ought to be a really nice flight. Set our cabin lighting for takeoff and landing. If you, with Say Intentions, if you ever get, if you forget what you've been approved for, whatever the case is.
Okay. All doors and hatches are closed. ready to connect.
You have everything right here. You have your log, your log between you and ATC. And Steve hasn't gotten our pushback and start clearance. Steve, have you asked for our pushback and start clearance yet?
Yeah, Steve, we got the pushback and start clearance. Tail southeast.
Okay. Do you notice it's lifting the aircraft right now? You about can't see it, but if you watch close.
Connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake. Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
All right, let's go ahead and prepare for engine start. I'm going to hit the taxi light, engine 2. We're going to bring it up. And engine 2 start, engine 1 start. What I'm waiting for here is 25. 25. I don't want a hot start, and when I did get there, bring up the fuel.
Operation complete. Go ahead and set the parking brake. Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
All right, so our next steps here, let's go ahead and align everything. Get everything up. See, so we want to turn on window heat. Turning the probes, setting the probes to on. I'm putting the packs on auto. Engine buses on.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have fun up there.
Thank you. APU is off now, and engine bleed is off. We're setting our altitude for the cabin at 32,000. We're actually taking off at 0, but this really isn't as important right now. I'm putting strobes to that strobe, like our position to strobe, and all runway lights and landing lights are on. Engines are going to be set to continuous. The seatbelt signs are on. Let's get some light up here on the panel. Okay. And now that we've got all that set, we're going to go down to our settings for our performance on takeoff. If you notice here, we've got a few things we need to take care of, and I can load those settings from this is the Zibo 737 model, so I'm able to do that. But I'm going to go check our reserves. Our reserves are 2.4, so 2,400. And now I'm going to load our settings. There we go. So our zero fuel weight is 135. Gross weight, it says here, is 158.8. And we're going to hit N1 limit, and we're going to take off. We're going out at flaps 15, flaps 15. This will give us a V1 of 138, a V2 of, no, excuse me, a rotate of 140, and a V2 of 148. And we're going to line that up. I always put the 148 in our setting here. Shout out to Q8 Pilot, Q8 as in Kuwait, but Q8, if you haven't seen his channel, been a big influence on me and learning about the 737 and the proper steps to take. So shout out to you today, my Q8 pilot friend. Right? And we're basically set here for our initial settings. Do not take what I'm doing as the right way necessarily. I have a system that I've created that I'm using now, but not every step would be correct, because I'm using a checklist that's in front of me here that I'm used to going by. But normally the pilots would have the checklist in front of them. They would go step by step, and I do follow those steps, but I'm just saying, if you're new, if you're just getting your feet wet, use something you can have right in front of your face, because you'll miss stuff. You miss stuff all the time, and that way you won't like be in the middle of trying to take off and realize that the packs are not in the right position, and you got a loss of power, and you're in kind of a bad place. So follow the checklist. Steve, can you get us our taxi clearance?
Got it, Steve. I'll get our taxi clearance.
I'm not sure why I'm not hearing my say intentions. Is he not doing anything? I didn't hear any of his traffic. That's a bug today. That is a bug, because normally I can hear everything. I'm not sure what's wrong there. Steve, I did not hear you get that clearance for taxi, but I know you did. Do you know what's going on?
Yeah, Steve, we got the taxi clearance. We're heading to runway 22 via Delta Charlie, cross runway 15, then Alpha.
The biggest difference is on say intentions and VATSIM. I used to run World Traffic a lot. World Traffic is where it adds planes on their AI, and I just don't use it much anymore. Just trying to focus on my flying. But you would need to pause and get clearance for every cross of a runway if you had that. Here it's a little bit easier. I caught a little bit of dirt there. Since Xplane did the last 2 updates, my frame rates have been amazing, and there was always something missing with Xplane for me. It was a sensation of speed on takeoff and on landing, and whatever they did that helped with the frame rates on the last updates, you can feel the speed. So shout out to Xplane on that. I'm not close to going to Microsoft Flight Sim. I have friends that are on 2020 that are thrilled, and some, I guess there's quite a few maybe that are on 2024. But I don't want to go through the career. I want to focus on what I like. And we're holding short at runway 22. Steve, we're holding short at runway 22. We just need clearance. And this is the last step we'll do is we'll start the chronometers to track our time. And
we're holding short at runway 22, ready for departure.
Would you please get our takeoff clearance?
I'll get our takeoff clearance.
If I do not...
Punta Gorda Tower,
there we go.
Allegiant 932, holding short of runway 22, ready for departure.
Allegiant 932, Punta Gorda Tower, runway 22, winds 140 at 10, fly runway heading, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 22, runway heading, cleared for takeoff. Allegiant 932,
The last step on our checklist is flaps to 5. Flaps are at 15 now. Five times. Flaps are at 15. RTO is active. Packs are set to auto. These are just my last step checks. All lights are where they should be. If you ever need it, if you like little, this is actually on the Airbus, not the Airbus, the 737s. I'm not using it because it's my view. I can still see my horizon, but the heads-up display, that's kind of a neat little feature if you ever need it. All right, let's go.
For the ride, it looks like it should be pretty good. So we're planning on a smooth ride. Get you there as soon as we can, and as safe as we can. We'll talk to you once we get airborne. Welcome aboard.
All right. Yeah. Our last step. Okay.
Fox, je rappelle en finale piste 09.
Alright, I'm about to hit the togo button. Togo button, by the way, is N1. It's right here. And so you're going to see this button light up. Okay. Okay. A little brake pressure. A little forward yoke pressure. Right, controlling, now I'm steering with my rudder pedals. I'm feeling kind of a pull to the left, so I'm going to give it a little bit more right. Rotating. Gear up. Flaps to 5. We're at 1,000 feet. VNAV and LNAV are ready to be put on autopilot.
Allegiant 932, contact departure on 127.05.
Flaps are retracted.
Departure on 127.05. Allegiant 932.
And autopilot is engaged. Landing gear is to off. RTO is to off.
Allegiant 932, morning, climbing path 1500.
Allegiant 932, Fort Myers departure, radar contact. Cleared to direct Rogan.
Cleared direct Rogan. Allegiant 932.
And we are cleared direct to Rogan, which we already had set. Rogan. We got 23 nautical miles to Rogan and to the next waypoint. So we're good.
Allegiant 932, climb and maintain flight level 210.
You heard that?
Climbing and maintaining flight level 210. Allegiant 932.
All right, our next point where we're going to be making some changes is that we're at 7,800 feet. And the minute we hit 10,000, we take landing lights off, runway, and I just take all the lights off regarding takeoff. Right, so 8, 9, and lights are off. Logo light off, and the wheel well lights are off.
Allegiant 932, climb and maintain flight level 280.
Climb and maintain flight level 280. Allegiant 932.
I'm putting the passenger area lights to cruise and to entry area to a white medium.
Now we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy our service on tonight's flight. If there's anything we can do to make them enjoyable, please don't hesitate to call upon us. Thank you.
There's something on the wing. Not really. Our total time we'll have in flight on this is 843 nautical miles. So we'll be up in the air for a while. I am activating TCAS. Normally I activate it sooner, but I noticed here that it said TCAS off or on standby, so now it is active. Right. So I'm going to go ahead and put in our arrival runway. We're going to be coming in on Fort Wayne runway 05 ILS. That's going to give us a frequency of 111.9 coming in at 050. Straight 050, so 111.
Allegiant 932, climb and maintain flight level 320.
Skyhawk Papa Golf Alpha, contact Portsmouth radar on 127.05.
Climb and maintain flight level 320. Allegiant 932.
Approach, Zibo Bravo, quit one clearance,
And when we land, we will have
Allegiant 932, contact Miami Center on 127.2.
okay, 40 flaps, so 147.
23.7, how does that 89 Bravo?
Switching to Miami Center on 127.2. Allegiant 932.
We'll also reset the course directors, just leave them at 050.
Miami Center, Allegiant 932 morning, climbing through 17,000 for flight level 320.
Allegiant 932, Miami Center, good morning, altimeter 29.906.
American 430, contact Corpus approach on 125.4.
And we're to standard.
Contact Minneapolis Center on 125.1. Scandinavian 2287, Prague info identified. Good afternoon.
American 773, Minneapolis Center, good evening.
Flight level 360.
And our engine's back to off, not continuous. We don't need the wear there. It's fine.
Miami Center, TBN 853 Tango Bravo is at 11,000 for flight level 260. 997, 853 Tango Bravo. Flight level 300. Cover control vision to 5 minutes to check in, climbing through flight level 200 for flight level 300.
We're at about 230. It's going to take us a while to get up to cruise altitude. And we will be there for, I don't know, maybe an hour and 20, hour and a half. Just a recap of what we're on. We're on 737-800, running Say Intentions for our ATC, so that's where you're getting the extra radio traffic from. Sounds good. I mean, and all of it's actually real radio traffic from ATC in Say Intentions. I can't control like what's allowed to come through, so I kind of let it go, just to get the you can hear some things from a little bit of everywhere. I'm using a co-pilot now, but I'm about to switch my mentor, which is on channel 2, over to our flight attendants. So let's do intercom, channel 2. Millie Skybound, who is awesome for answers to different things. She's like a mentor, and anything about this 737 I can ask her really comes in handy. She's a wealth of information. But I'm going to switch to a cabin crew.
We would like to start our descent.
And let's put the cabin crew to work.
Proceed direct DN432, descent altitude 4200 until established on the localizer. Get for the ILS 110. Approach Lufthansa 2 Mike Yankee.
Dear guests, we have now climbed to a safe altitude. Use your electronic devices. Our onboard Wi-Fi service is now available for your convenience. We are currently on our way to Port Wayne, and the estimated flight time is approximately 2 hours and 10 minutes. Thank you for flying with Allegiant Air today.
1 Mike Juliet.
That's gonna go.
Copy that. We'll let you know when we're ready to descend. 1 Golf Charlie.
All right, we're at cruise altitude, and we're going to go ahead and free up the passengers. Seatbelt sign is off. Give them a little word.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck. We've reached our cruising altitude. Looks like we are anticipating on-time arrival. You're going to head and turn off the seatbelt at this time. Just remember, if you are in your seats, keep your seatbelts fastened in case we do experience any unexpected turbulence. Enjoy the flight, and if there's anything we can do to make your ride, to let a member of the crew know.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your purser, Erica speaking. We have now reached our cruising altitude on Allegiant Air Flight 932, heading from Charlotte
Allegiant 932, Miami Center, contact Jacksonville Center on 135.75.
I will say this: you can't get spoiled by the co-pilot, your co-pilot, because he's gonna make sure you don't miss any of that radio traffic. And he'll take care of it for you. It does appear like right now, either he's slow or I'm not picking up everything he's saying, and I don't know why. See, like that's the last thing, so that means he hasn't said anything. So what I'm going to do is Allegiant 932, switching to 135.75. Allegiant 932 is at 320. Good day.
The Allegiant 932, contact Jacksonville Center on 135.75.
Switching to Jacksonville Center on 135.75, Allegiant 932. Jacksonville Center, Allegiant 932, morning, maintaining flight level 320.
Allegiant 932, Jacksonville Center, good morning.
Anyway, I think there's going to be an update coming out about that, because it's just off, and some of the, I don't know what's going on there, but something's a little bit off. Usually it's right on it. Does a good job. So we're at cruise altitude, just chilling. Some things we could do is look at, so we're already at cruise. Our landing lights are off. Passenger sign is off. Altimeter setting. We need to double check our altimeter setting. That would be my big boo-boo on this flight, and this is back to where checklists come into play. The altimeter setting on takeoff may not be as important as on like landing, approach and landing, but I did not have the altimeter setting correct when I took off. So there's my big boo-boo of the day, but we're going to go ahead and correct that, because we still want to make sure that the correct altimeter setting, or roughly, is in there. What it should have been is, let's go to AV tab, airports. K, P, G, D. 3001 is what it should have been. And then it will, when it comes time, when you get closer to the airport, because that QNH can change, the altimeter setting can change pressure, we will reset it to the arrival airport for our descent. We can go ahead and try to pull down our descent winds, request them. And it looks like we're going to get them. Sometimes we don't get them. We have to manually enter them. So that gives us our descent winds, and really we can go ahead and enter the QNH for our arrival airport. So for Fort Wayne, it is 2993. Nothing extraordinary there, but 2993. So we'll put in and that's in for now. And we could actually put that at 2993. And I have my altimeters set to where when I make one change here, it changes it here, and it changes it on the altimeter over here, so I don't have to do double duty and change it in 3 different places. It works good for me, you know. Flight attendant, what food are we serving today?
Hello, Captain. Good. Today we're serving a turkey and cheese sandwich and a vegetarian wrap. We'll also have a selection of drinks available for the passengers. Let me know if there's anything else you need.
I would like one of those sandwiches, please. It sounds good.
Sure thing, Captain Good. I'll have one of those turkey and cheese sandwiches brought up to you shortly. Let me know if you'd like anything else.
Coffee with it, please. My coffee's really cold.
Certainly, Captain Good. I'll bring you a fresh coffee along with your sandwich right away.
Descending through flight level 280 on the Ladle 1 arrival at Delta 2565, descend and maintain 7,000. Altimeter 200.83.
We are 709 miles from Fort Wayne. I didn't realize how far it is from Fort Wayne to Punta Gorda. It's a long flight. Well, we've only been in flight for 29 minutes. From the time we've taken off, it's been 29 minutes. How's the lighting in the back, the cruise lighting? It's nice. This is a really well maintained or well it looks really good. The seats, the detail. Won't let me open the bathroom, but I think I'm good. We are actually going to pass directly over Atlanta at 320 on our course. In fact, we are way close now. Well, it looks like we are. And I'm about to do something that I don't know if it will help, but right now we're at 0.6761 for our speed. I'm going to intervene on the speed, and I want to take us up to 0.81 Mach 0.81. We've got plenty of fuel. It will save us some time. I'm not sure how much. I can factor it in and see what it will save us. But at 687 nautical miles from the airport, who knows, or could help me calculate that quicker. Is on my intercom. I'm going to bring in on channel 2 my mentor Millie. Millie, can you give me a calculation of how fast we're going in miles per hour?
Sure thing. Your ground speed is 474 knots, which converts to approximately 545 miles per hour. That's quite a clip. Keep up the great work.
All right, I'll take it. That'll put us in approach range in an hour. We'll be in approach range.
Contact Jacksonville Center on 134.45.
134.45. Yeah. Jacksonville, good morning. Citation 821 Golf Charlie. Climbing through flight level 255 for flight level 400.
One setting that we're going to enter now is the elevation at Fort Wayne, which is 815 feet. That means we need to round up to about 800. So right here, our landing altitude is 800. Do you know why I pushed that button? Because I can.
Can we go ahead and start service?
Yes. Okay, so one thing that I used to use before is Active Sky. And Active Sky is a product that you use that it's outside of Xplane. It's an add-on, and I did it because the cloud formations just didn't have that pop to them, that realism. But over these past two updates with Xplane, here's what they look like. I am great staying with the native Xplane sky formations.
Contact London Control on 134.75k. 5.
I mean, you be the judge. Look at those. I mean, do they not have more of that actual, I'm in the airplane looking at this feel? I think they look much better. So the Active Sky, so I have pulled away from Active Sky, and plus it's great, so I could leave my settings up like full throttle and use just the Xplane native settings. Whenever I'd have a crash in my Xplane, I would always have to think, okay, was it Active Sky? Was it XP map enhancements? I had like a list of things that were wrong, and it would take me forever to figure out like exactly sometimes which one. And sure, you can go to the log, but I just was trying to figure out what did I do differently this time. So I ran into that a lot over time. Okay, so we're getting a master caution light for fuel, but that's only because we've emptied out our center tank. So we'll throw that up. And we're using the fuel out of the left and right wings now.
Allegiant 932, contact Jacksonville Center on 135.625.
Austrian 254, anchor control. Prepare to descend in roughly 20 minutes. Reach out if you want an early start.
My navigraph.
Switching to Jacksonville Center on 135.625. Allegiant 932.
The navigraph maps is showing a lot of like cloud activity and
Center,
weather
Allegiant
under us.
932, morning, maintaining flight level 320.
Allegiant 932, Jacksonville Center, good morning.
All right, Millie, give us our speed now, miles per hour.
Sure thing. Your indicated airspeed is 294 knots, which converts to approximately 338 miles per hour. You're cruising smoothly.
Millie, could you check that speed again? I'm at 294 knots, and that converts to what?
Sure thing. Your indicated airspeed of 294 knots converts to approximately 338 miles per hour. Keep up the great work.
Do you remember earlier she said our speed was 500 and... What's changed? 500 and...
TBM 1 Juliet November, descend and maintain 12000.
If I'm not really gaining that much from intervening on speed, I'd rather just go back to what VNAV was doing. Don't want to waste the fuel. Just don't want to. So I'm actually going to go back to what would be 0.76, Mach 0.76, and just let the plane VNAV take care of the speed. Looks like we might have some turbulence under us. See it? So I fly for two different airlines. I fly for Allegiant, regional, kind of a regional kind of airline, and then I fly for Delta. And if you're wondering, if you're trying to get started, figuring out what you want to do, I would start out with one like Allegiant. You have they're a little bit more forgiving on your, like for instance, when you go to approach and land, and you're just getting started. Sometimes it can be overwhelming, but you also can land with an FPM that's probably a little bit harder. For instance, your goal is probably to land at less than 600 feet per minute, but honestly, it's better to be under 300 feet per minute. But I'm saying what room you have, latitude you have, is between 600 or less, and so as long as you're under those, you typically will be okay. Maybe even up to 700 on Allegiant. With Delta, they will fail you, or they will not approve your flight unless you hit very specific less than parameters for feet per minute. So, like if you hit a runway at 700 feet per minute, you don't even want to submit that flight because it's going to get it's not going to be approved. It's going to be rejected. I think Allegiant probably gives you a little bit more latitude on that, on the regional side, and it gives you time to learn. So those are things to think about. I wouldn't jump right into Delta unless you're really flying a lot, and you've landed a lot, and you've got your landings down, or you'll just get frustrated because a lot of your landings will get rejected. So it's better to take some time and get fresh and make sure you know what you're doing. There's another one that I fly on, and I haven't done a flight in a bit, but New Sky, that's European, and they're really picky. I like the guy. The guy that does it actually is the Scottish. I think he may be Scottish, but he's very tough, and I think his pilots are great. I mean, the average, they have you have to have a certain average in order to get into his airline for your flights, and I think most of his pilots are like a 9, and the best you can get is a 10. But most of his pilots have an average score of 9. It's really so I would say those pilots are really, really good. Okay, we're hitting some weather that is off to our left.
Approach 1270, CPM 1 Julie, November.
Hitting some weather. You see it on our map here. We should be hitting a little bit of, we'll get a little turbulence, but I don't know about a lot of turbulence. I honestly don't know who designed the 737-800 livery for Allegiant, but they did an excellent job. Really pops. The textures are really good. Yeah, really hitting some weather to our left, to our west, I'm seeing it on my Navigraph map too.
Munich radar on 126.175.
I don't know how to avoid it, except that we're above it. And we may have to increase altitude before we get to some components to this weather. You see that? Steve, would you see if Center will give us clearance to increase our altitude to 350 to get above some weather that we're going into?
I'll ask for a climb to FL 350.
Jacksonville Center, Allegiant 932, request climb to flight level 350 to avoid weather.
Allegiant 932, climb and maintain flight level 350.
Climb and maintain flight level 350. Allegiant 932.
I'm not having the passengers put seatbelts on for this since it's just a 3,000 foot change. To go. And once we get on the other side of this weather, honestly, I think we'll probably end up staying here because we'll be in weather all the way to our arrival airport. 544 miles from the airport. Millie, the weather going into our airport in Fort Wayne looks pretty rough. Do you think I need to divert any further than I already have? I went to a 350 level change to try to avoid some of it, get above it.
Great job on climbing to FL 350 to avoid the weather. With the current conditions at Fort Wayne, you might encounter some turbulence on descent, but it should be manageable. Keep an eye on the ATS for updates and be ready for potential deviations if needed. Remember, you can always request vectors from ATC if the weather worsens. Stay sharp.
The Mentor is awesome, Millie, and I'll just say that because she's pretty.
Center. Expect the Freedom 6 arrival. Prepare to descend in roughly 20 minutes. Reach out if you want an early start.
1032, contact Atlanta Center on 123.905.
Switching to Atlanta Center on 123.905. Allegiant 932. Atlanta Center, Allegiant 932, morning, maintaining flight level 350 high.
Allegiant 932, Atlanta Center, good morning.
Montreal approach on 134.15 for Air Canada 1003.
info, expect terrific-free Lima arrival. Prepare to descend in roughly 20 minutes.
Allegiant 932, contact Atlanta Center on 121.35.
Please expedite your climb to flight level 370.
Switching to Atlanta Center on 121.35. Allegiant 932. Atlanta Center, Allegiant 932, morning, maintaining flight level 350 high.
Allegiant 932, Atlanta Center, good morning.
Descending to Tier 1 Bravo arrival at 8,000, 18,000.
Yana radar, identified. Good evening, UNH 1012.
Steve, see if you can get us clearance to climb to 380.
Can't change altitude without ATC permission, Steve. We're at FL 350.
Yes. Yes, okay. All right, forget it.
All right, Steve. Let me know if you need anything else.
Brian, see if we can get clearance to increase altitude to 370. I'm trying to get out of the clouds.
I'll request clearance to climb to FL 370.
Atlanta Center, Allegiant 932 requesting a climb to flight level 370 to steer clear of clouds.
Allegiant 932, climb and maintain flight level 370.
All right, we're also switching on to our engines to continuous because this is really brutal weather.
1,000 to go.
Which star should I use? Jet Charlie Lima Romeo, Foxtrot X-ray, gyro control, contact jetback control on 132.6. Allegiant 932, I'll have you descending in about 20 minutes. Notify if you're ready to descend before that.
We'll notify if ready to descend earlier. Allegiant 932. Identified.
Allegiant 932, we've been trying to find an altitude to keep out of the weather and really having a rough time, but we would like to go ahead and descend back to our regular flight level of 320. We're asking clearance for 320.
Allegiant 932, whenever you'd like to descend and maintain flight level 260.
Descend and maintain flight level 260. Allegiant 932.
Flight level 250 climbing course
I've put our anti-skids on 2. That'll be landing. Our landing.
I'm on approach, runway 6 left. I want to descend to 3,000 feet, KLM 428.
Langen radar, clear Domo, 1 Alpha arrival into Düsseldorf. When you're ready to begin your descent, descend flight level 290.
Wow, this is rough.
Allegiant 932, contact Indianapolis Center on 134.675. Switching to Indianapolis Center on 134.675. Allegiant 932. Indianapolis Center, Allegiant 932. Morning. Descending through flight level 340 for flight level 260.
Allegiant 932, Indianapolis Center, good morning.
Barcelona approach on 119.105, KLM 428.
Liver 714, contact Gibraltar radar on 122.8.
All right, we're in a hot mess here, and I'm not sure if it's going to get any better before we land. Ooh, yeah.
Once again, from the flight deck here, we're on our descent. Seatbelt signs going to be back off for our rattle. If you're up and about, please turn to return your seats, fasten your seatbelts. Still showing well ahead of schedule. Thanks again. So hope you have a nice week. Have you on the camera here very shortly.
If I were in an actual 737, I would be unnerved with this weather. Probably would have avoided it. Yeah. This is bad.
Vienna radar. Contact Budapest radar on 118.715. Descent altitude 5,000.
So down here, if you look, we'd normally stay at 320 for until red, but I think red we're going to go ahead. We'll be down at the red 260 altitude. We're 137 nautical miles actually from our top of descent. So.
Can you please expedite your descent to flight level 350? Have a nice day, United 854.
I think it was like 3 Xplane updates ago where you really get this physics feel, like what you're seeing right now is really like true to life.
United 2420, descend and maintain flight level 210.
And so we're flying, this will be a true instrument. Just we're on instruments alone because we can't use any visual references. All we have is our instruments. We're in Tiwa. Trust your instruments. Give us some light in the back. All I see is I'm seeing red and yellow. No hardly any green. It's red and yellow. We should have a little bit of an ease here.
American 1907, Jacksonville Center. Good afternoon. Springboard 334, tower control. Whenever you'd like to send flight level 280.
What's your work schedule, buddy?
1907, Jacksonville Center. Climb and maintain flight level 360.
This is rather unnerving. It is. No, start any service.
Springboard 334, descend flight level 170.
Finally got a little break in the rain, and we are at what? 320. And our discontinuity comes at Yeah, Bostic 35 nautical miles. We're going to be on to RID at 77 nautical miles. And which I have a feeling I know what that's from.
Duke 1 Golf Juliet, contact New Orleans approach on 123.85.
From RID is the last one before we get to approach.
Legion 932, Indianapolis Center, descend and maintain flight level 220.
Right. So we'll go straight from RID to Jibu for approach. That's not. And so what it means is that's where we don't have a waypoint in between. But I also noticed how far apart are those. So from RID, it's not far. It's like, okay, it is a little bit of a clip, but it is, say when we get to RID, then 67 nautical miles is the distance between that and the next waypoint. So we don't have an in-between waypoint for that for a considerable period of time. I get it. I don't know what the policy is on that. Oh, VNav is not letting me go down below 320 because it's following the flight path, but we've been cleared down to 260, so I'm going to hit flight level change again. And then I'll hit VNav again and let's let it descend to 260, which we're cleared to be at. So, to get used to instruments, I saw where they have that hood they put on you. If you're like in a single engine RM, they put that hood around you so you can't see the surroundings, and that's how you learn how to fly on instruments. And I was watching one of my shows, my Mayday disaster shows, where a Cessna was on approach to the runway, and he was off. Of course, he's wearing that hood, trying to get his ILS rating, and he can't see the 727, I think it was 707, 727 coming up on his rear, and the 727 can't see him either because of the height, like the lip of the height. And the 727 hits the Cessna and kills everybody. In fact, the Cessna ends up crashing into a hangar, and it kills another 2 or 3 people that were in the hangar. Tragic. Not the kind of thing you talk about in a real 737 as you are descending in horrendously bad weather. But we'll get there. What I noticed about, since it's really the light's less here, is how the cockpit is much better. It's easier to see. It's just right. I can actually make out everything. It's not like dark. It's just what it should be. So they did a good job making those changes.
Can you please expedite your descent to flight level 350? KLF 589. Descend via line 1 Bravo into Accra.
China, Eastern 1128, Copenhagen control identified.
I
Good morning.
think we're about to break out of the weather.
Allegiant 932 Indianapolis Center, descend and maintain flight level 210.
Descend and maintain flight level 210. Allegiant 932.
Yeah, I think I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. You see they're just coming out of this. We're 126 miles, by the way, outside of the airport, and we actually will swing to the left of the airport to set up for a runway 05 landing.
Allegiant 4905, contact Chicago Center on 124.8. Level 6, Springbok 334. Maintain level 0.
Allegiant 932 requesting Q&H for Fort Wayne.
Allegiant 4905, Chicago Center, good morning.
Allegiant 932 Fort Wayne, altimeter 299 and 2.
Level 6, Springbok 334.
All right, see, easing up. Good, good. Not much visibility there. So this really does come in handy. So right here, I think it's counting down our distance to our next waypoint, to the end of the.
Maybe 10 minutes, KLM, for warm-up. Delta 991 Kilo, the long way info. Can you please expedite your descent to flight level 360?
American 2025, contact Albuquerque Center on 134.45. American 134 Heavy, can you please expedite your descent to flight level 350?
Those are some interesting cloud formations. I don't know if actually that's possible. It looks good. Interesting. Feel like you're caught in the middle of something.
China Eastern 1128, Copenhagen Control. Expect the Looney 4 Lima arrival. Plan for descent in maybe 20 minutes.
So, let's see, we're going to be sitting at 210 for a while, and then the Zibo, we have 67 nautical miles to get down to 2600, which is ample time. It's awesome. Plenty.
$1,000 to go.
Kilo Lima, backup info identified. Good evening.
I think we're going to be hitting some rain, but the weather map and does not indicate some of the yellows and reds that we're more cautious of.
Lima Romeo Foxtrot X-ray. Contact Jet Control on 134.2.
Lima, Foxtrot Lima Romeo X-ray. Jet Control, Vision Jet, Charlie Foxtrot Lima Romeo X-ray, flight level 270.
Nippon 2 Alpha X-ray, contact Nagasaki, approach on 119.175.
Air France 2662, Heavy, Cleveland Center, contact Indianapolis Center on 125.075. Duke Papa Tango Romeo Alpha, Golf, Jacksonville Center, good afternoon, altimeter 30.03.
Contact Indianapolis Center on 125.075. Air France 2662. Bye-bye. Air France 2662. Good afternoon. Flight level 400.
Contact Minneapolis Center on 125.5.
Second engine's back to, I'm not using that additional power right now. Good.
OGAP 2 for Romeo arrival at Berlin Brandenburg. Whenever you'd like to send flight level 080.
Right, we are already set with our frequencies for our arrival airport. Our landing altitude is set on our overhead. Right. And a break in the clouds. It's good. Our anti-skid is set to 2 for landing. On our approach, we will be set at full flaps, and our VREF setting is 40 at 147.
Allegiant 932, contact Indianapolis Center on 120.575.
Contacting Indianapolis Center on 120.575. Allegiant 932. Indianapolis Center, Allegiant 932. Afternoon. Maintaining flight level 210.
Allegiant 932, Indianapolis Center. Good afternoon.
Easy 125 at flight level 190.
Allegiant 932 requesting clearance to descend to 2,600 for the Zibo waypoint.
Allegiant 932, descend and maintain 2600 feet for the Zibo waypoint. Altimeter 29.85.
Allegiant 932 descending to 2600 for the Zibo waypoint. Altimeter 2985.
Descend and maintain 2600 feet for the Zibo waypoint. Altimeter 2985. Allegiant 932.
Give me 1 second for that clearance.
Much more important. I mean, altimeter is like really important when you're way.
Allegiant 932, descend and maintain 2600 feet for the Zibo waypoint.
It's altimeter is important. Obviously, we've seen that from DC, but when you're only 2,600 feet from the ground, it's even more important than ever. You've gotta know every foot. We have 33 nautical miles to descend to 2,600. So we're in fairly decent shape for our approach.
Descend and maintain 2600 feet for the Zibo waypoint. Allegiant 932.
Contact Berlin. Approach on 121.13.
Allegiant 932, radar contact. 6 northeast of Chuck Airport at 16300 feet. Albany altimeter 29.89er cleared, direct Rogan.
Cleared, direct Rogan. Albany altimeter 29er. Allegiant 932.
I don't understand what he means when he says Rogan.
Allegiant 932, contact Fort Wayne approach on 132.15.
Switching to Fort Wayne approach on 132.15. Allegiant 932.
That was our initial, wasn't that our first waypoint? I'm not sure what he's talking about. It's confusing.
Fort Wayne approach. Allegiant 932. Good afternoon. Maintaining flight level 160.
Allegiant 932, Fort Wayne approach. Good afternoon, Fort Wayne altimeter 29.89er. Expect the ILS runway 5 approach into Fort Wayne.
Expecting the ILS runway 5 approach into Fort Wayne. Allegiant 932.
Delta 210 heavy, climb and maintain flight level 350.
Oh, when he made that reference to Rogan, I don't know what he was talking about. That was the first waypoint on our flight plan. So I'm not sure if he was just making small talk. That was confusing.
Kansas City departure, contact OK City approach on 124.2.
Duke 1 Golf Juliet, 7 miles from Toibo, turn left heading 050. Descend and maintain 2600 until established. Cleared for the RNAV runway 36 left approach.
Aeroflot 21, climb and maintain flight level 310.
We are 27 nautical miles from the airport, but that's if we were direct. We're going to the Zibo waypoint first, and that is 16 nautical miles. So
Aeroflot 21, contact Petersburg on 128.325.
Flight following already established to Janesville KJVL.
Hold Nippon 2 Alpha X-ray, Nagasaki approach, contact Nagasaki Tower on 126.2.
Turn right heading 055.
I'm going to go ahead and light us up. And we're going to flaps 1.
7 Romeo Charlie, descend via OLA 2 for the ILS runway 25 left approach to Los Angeles. Altimeter 29.901.
QNH 1006, appears after the localizer clearance for the ILS runway 25 approach. Make turn to Lima.
We're not going to make it to the correct altitude before we hit the Zibo. So I'm setting a heading of 270 to bleed off our altitude.
Allegiant 932, proceed direct Zibo. Descend and maintain 2600 until established on the localizer. Cleared for the ILS runway 5 approach.
Proceeding direct Zibo. Descend and maintain 2600 until established on the localizer. Cleared for the ILS runway 5 approach. Allegiant 932.
Over to Rock for departure on 126.0 for Sierra Spoiling Alpha. On your 2FA fair again. This approach Sunday. KLF 589er. Accra approach identified. Good afternoon. Expect the ILS runway 21 approach into Accra. 30.01. Sierra Spoiling Alpha.
Delta 495, contact LaGuardia Tower on 118.7.
Tango Foxtrot, can I go ahead and go up to 10,000, please?
What I'm gonna do is I'm traveling at 270 just long enough to get my altitude down to about 4,000 or 5,000, and then I'm going to go back to LNAV.
Viper Hotel Victor Bravo, altitude at your discretion. Contact the London Control Center, decimal 6.
Delta 1332, descend and maintain 5,000, turn right.
Okay.
075 vectors for the ILS runway 27 left approach. Walker 4286, contact VC Bird Tower on 118.2. Walker 4286, okay.
Climb flight level 110. Contact Echo Tower on 123 decimal 255.
Delta 5959, climb and maintain flight level 220.
Decimal 255, Delta Hotel Lima. Salzburg departure. Good afternoon. Austrian 456. Climbing to 5,000 feet. Maintaining VFR altitude. Sierra Spoiling Alpha. Cleared direct Whiskey Sierra 616 Austrian 456.
Delta 22, heavy, Charlotte approach, good afternoon. Charlotte altimeter 30.01. Expect the ILS runway 18 center approach into Charlotte.
Cabin flight level 220 Austrian 456.
Princess 7 Romeo Charlie, proceed direct Punta. Descend and maintain 3600, altimeter 29.901 until established on the localizer. Cleared for the ILS runway 25 left approach.
This is November 67 Echo Echo, climbing 5,060, clear 10,000, checking in.
Allegiant 4905, 7 miles from Big Ten. Turn left heading 090, descend and maintain 3,000 until established on the localizer. Cleared for the ILS runway 5 right approach.
Contacting unit radar on 133,
1,000 ago.
68, Austrian 456.
2,500.
Proceed direct to Honda, descend and maintain 3,600. Still established.
932. Contact Fort Wayne Tower on 119.1.
Contacting Fort Wayne Tower on 119.1. Allegiant 932. Fort Wayne Tower, Allegiant 932. Good afternoon. We're established on the ILS for runway 5 approach.
Allegiant 932, Fort Wayne Tower, roger. Continue approach. Wind 045 at 10. Runway 5 cleared to land.
Runway 05, clear to land. Allegiant 932.
Twin Cessna 427, Romeo Charlie, Los Angeles Tower, roger. Continue approach.
All right, we are should be lining up here.
Foxtrot Golf Victor Zulu Whiskey, Brussels Airport Tower, runway 1 with 335 at 8, cleared for takeoff. Delta 495, welcome to LaGuardia. Contact ground on 121.7.
Twin Cessna 427, Romeo Charlie, Los Angeles Tower, wind 105 at 3. Runway 25 left, cleared to land.
Just line it up here. It's good.
7, holding short runway 08, right ready for departure.
Rear wings 867, runway 8 right, winds 110 at 12. Are now jambo.
We should be picking up the capturing the ILS here in a moment.
Contact departure on 119.1.
Runway 08, right. On Jambo, clear for takeoff, fairway 867. Welcome to takeoff. Contact ground on 118.105.
Victor Zulu Whiskey, contact departure on 127.575.
What we're waiting on here is the minute you see the app go off, the approach go off, and you see this lined up right here, we'll activate the secondary command. There we go. And there, we're out.
Corporate 128, contact departure.
Contact departure for corporate 128.
Allegiant 4905, Indy Tower, roger. Continue approach for runway 5 right.
Says here that our wind is in our face, so that's good.
Indy Tower, wind 040 at 10. Runway 5 right, cleared to land.
Formation Sierra is now coming. Twin H1005.
Springbok 334, wind 110 at 5, runway 18, clear to land.
Right, we're at VREF, full flaps, 140 knots.
Sierra Seed 44 Lima Alpha, Janesville Tower, wind 045 at 12. Runway 4, clear to land.
I have the throttle.
Eurowing 63 Victor, Düsseldorf Tower, runway 23 left. Hold short Airbus on the runway.
Alright, the throttle right now, all this is bringing our plane down, so our secondary autopilot, all that's still active while I have control of the throttle.
300. 200.
Twin Cessna 7 Romeo, Charlie, welcome to Los Angeles. Contact ground on 121.75.
100.
Right?
50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Right, I have the throttle, I have the control. Reversers. My plane.
Allegiant 932, welcome to Fort Wayne. Contact ground on 121.9er.
Switching to ground on 121.9er. Allegiant 9.
Anti-skid off.
Fort Wayne ground. Allegiant 932. Cleared runway 5. Ready to taxi to the gate. Good afternoon.
Allegiant 932, Fort Wayne ground. Taxi to 12 via Charlie 2, Charlie, cross runway 32 at your discretion. Good day. All aircraft be advised, information X-ray is now current. Altimeter 2993.
Runway 12 via Charlie 2, Charlie, cross 32 at our discretion. Allegiant 932.
I can't say that I know this airport very well. It's not like it's huge. Terminals down there to what now is my right, I believe. That's what says terminal. Messy day out here, by the way. It's just, you see the rain on the runway, or on the
Alright, longitude 41 Bravo is clear to Maxford via radar vectors to Pendleton, and then it's filed. Climb maintain 4,000, flight level 430 after 10, departure frequency 133.15, squawk 5274, and we'll expect runway 20 for 1 Bravo.
Fort Wayne ground, Catbird 104 at gate 4, requesting pushback and startup.
brakes on. Okay, whenever you arrive at an airport, first thing you do is get the GPU connected, activate ground power, and now that gives you the ability to shut down power.
Progressive taxi instructions will be provided. Follow the taxi path light.
Lima requesting taxi to runway 28.
And we'll go ahead and do our replay now before they get started. So let's go back in. Let's get back to our. Let's take a look at our landing. So that's not too far back. It is too far back. Okay. Okay, we're at full flaps at about 140. Spoilers.
KLM 589er, welcome. All right, that we'll get our rating in a minute about exactly what our feet per minute was. We can do that now, in fact.
105 whiskey. Clear to Lyon Saint-Exupéry via the launch 1 Romeo departure runway 20, initial climb to 4,000 feet, departure on 127.78 squawk 5525.
Yes, 8 table, read back, correct. Delta 1332, turning on taxi path for you.
Okay, so our final touchdown rating was 204 feet per minute. And it says our speed was at about 132 knots. Pitch was at negative 5.45 degrees. So 204. And we're going to end that flight. They're giving us, not thrilled with that, at 82%. They're big on lights, and I'd be willing to bet they were fussing at me for turning the lights on too early, which I was fine with when I turned them on. Our climb was good. So I'm not sure what they were really fussing about. But I'll take that. Okay. Anyway, with Allegiant, they'll take that now. It's gone. ACARS is gone. It's been submitted, and they'll give me a rating. They'll give me a approval.
Delta 22 Heavy, taxi to D12 via Echo 5 Sierra Mike Charlie, Charlie 10. Good day.
Let's check on our passengers, and if there's anything I need to do to get them off. We had an approach rating of good.
Taxi to Terminal 8 via Charlie.
Landing rate of excellent. Okay, take it.
Taxi to Delta 12 via Echo 5 Sierra Mike Charlie, Charlie 1, Delta 211, correction, Delta 22 Heavy.
See, our passengers are still in boarding, and they're still cargo still being unloaded.
Piper Alpha Charlie 1. If you're looking to practice maneuvers, please state your intentions for the type of flight you'll be conducting, such as airwork, and your desired practice area or destination.
All right. Hey, it's been great hanging out with you guys. I hope you learned from both my mistakes and whatever I did right today. That's what we're trying to do, just trying to get better. So take a nugget, learn it, know it, live it, and I will see y'all on the next flight.